for so many people, we've had to become a little bit creative, and not only how we work, but for so many business owners, also how they survive this pandemic. And I think a great example of that is the Detroit City Distillery, located in downtown Detroit. We want to go ahead and bring in Garrett Passiak. He's the brand ambassador. Garrett, I want to change positions with you right now.
Okay, absolutely.
You come stand here and I'll stand where you are.
Oh boy.
All right, yeah. I mean, if you'd like, we've got everything ready for you.
You know, you guys have such a unique story, and you've done such an amazing job throughout the pandemic. I'm sure it hasn't been business as usual, but you've been creative too and trying to survive this. So talk a little bit about the past year. Remember when this was only going to be 2 weeks to flatten the curve?
Exactly, yeah. So what we did, I always tell people, especially when you're in the service industry, the bar industry, you're always thinking on a whim, and you always have to, you have to pivot, not panic. All right. So once we heard about that, and we thought it was just going to be 2 weeks, and then of course we got the news, it is going to be probably a very long time. What Detroit City Distillery did with our facility as a distillery, we said, let's start making hand sanitizer, folks. Made over 30,000 gallons of hand sanitizer.
I still have my gallon, by the way. Yeah. I was always afraid I was going to be pulled over by the cops and had to say, no, really, I haven't been drinking. It's my hand sanitizer.
Yeah, that was very common because, it's a gallon full of moonshine, basically, is what it is. That's why you saw a lot of distilleries and breweries making that hand sanitizer. So that was our first move. Then we kind of felt it out a little bit. Of course, we obviously didn't have any problems with, stuff in our stores. A lot of people were stocking up. But then that kind of fine line when everything started to kind of like loosely lighten up and everyone was watching the news, every day of what we can do. What we decided to do is just go ahead and luckily, with cooperation from the city and Eastern Market, very, very gracious to them, they allowed us to open our bar, socially distanced street bar party. All right. And then you had a lot of restrictions that were kind of, unleashed, and we were able to go ahead and do to-go cocktails. And we were just really grateful for the weather, and that's what we did. And to this day, we are open, and we're super excited. We have the street permit till Halloween, so we'll be out there 5 days a week, Wednesday through Sunday, just having a nice block party all summer long. And we always love, of course, showcasing the star of summer, which is the Lost Summer Rum limited edition. So we're serving that all summer long as well, along with all of these to-go cocktails, and of course, all our featured flagship spirits. You got your rye whiskey, you've got your bourbon, got our Gilded Age vodka, Railroad gin, and our Peacemaker gin. Staff is all here, and we're just ready to kind of get over this. Super excited about summer, just getting people back together in crowds safely. But yeah, that's the story. Big unity with a lot of our Eastern Market neighbors too. Eastern Market Brewing is right next to us, and it's just been a really, really, I don't want to say fun time, but a collaborative, we got close together here in Eastern Market, figuring out how all local businesses can go ahead and thrive through the release, this post-pandemic that's going on. So
that's good news to hear, and it really is a crisis. It brings us closer together, and also allows you to think outside the box, because thinking about the city of Detroit, I used to work over there at Crane Communications building, so people don't understand that's kind of like a big cut through to get back on the highway. So to work with the city and say, hey, can we shut down this road? And they're working with businesses. I wonder too, prior to the pandemic, that conversation maybe would have gone a different way.
Right. Yeah. And it's talking about thinking outside of the box. And I think kind of proud of a lot of, like the city of Detroit working with a lot of the local businesses. Like, for instance, it was every bartender's dream to sell to-go cocktails.
Yep.
All right. That usually wasn't allowed. And then it was just it was really nice. How do you go ahead, support the economy? How do you go ahead and support your local businesses? Why don't we go ahead and shove a little of these like old laws under the rug, and let's see what happens. Let's see what goes ahead, and let's a local business thrive. And all the local businesses around here. We, we honored that, and we went ahead and we got out of the box, and we started getting a little fun and a little crazy out on the block over there. So.
And for those that haven't been to Eastern Market or haven't been down there, I think this is perfect. They should have done this years ago, though, where they shut down that whole area for people to go, really shop to shop, bar to bar, restaurant to restaurant, to experience the entire Eastern Market, because we do know it attracts huge crowds, if anything, just for the art. And so to incorporate this into that arena, is it going to stick around for years to come, do you think?
In my opinion, honestly, I think so. And that was where you have something really, really like flourishing out of a bad situation. You all of a sudden see, all right, so what if we did allow businesses to close off the streets during Saturdays and Sundays? What's Eastern Market look like on Sundays without streets closed off? What happens when people realize that there is a nice Sunday fun day block party going on, in Eastern Market with the brewing company, the distillery, the clothing shops, that kind of thing. So I think it kind of opened people's eyes up a little bit to where, something just like you said, maybe we should have been doing this years ago, even before there was like a pandemic, open markets, a lot of socialization, just kind of like solidarity with all different businesses. Grab a cocktail, get a bed of flowers, go get a sandwich, nice slice of pizza, boom. You can spend all day in Eastern Market, and before you know it, the sun's going down. We see, and I've seen that too, is that's what the kind of persona is that's happened with all this solidarity here during COVID, pre-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID. It's been really, really fun, and I think it let a lot of creativity for not just Detroit City Distillery, but again, a lot of local businesses just band together saying, hey, what can we do? So.
We're talking with Garrett Passiak. He's the brand ambassador over at the Detroit City Distillery. And with that, Garrett, too, if I can ask you, so many restaurants and businesses are having issues with trying to find enough employees. Is that the case for you as well? We've always been a family, a close-knitted family, and it hasn't really been an issue with us, So again, you don't panic, you pivot. You're like, okay, where can employee A, B, and C go? Let's go ahead and do this. Where can employee, like DEF go? And you just kind of send them, and you all come together, and, everyone just kind of like did duties that, were out of the box for themselves. And I think that was very important. Like as an employee, you just kind of got to go ahead and you got to work through it. But yeah, we were very, very fortunate. Our staff's amazing. It is small, tight-knit, family-style staff, and so everyone did their part. Go deliver a barrel into a truck. No one ever says that's not my job, and I think that's very important for any type of restaurant, bar, work staff. You got to band together. You got to realize what's going on, and just all kind of work together to make things happen. So what are your thoughts on the curfew now being extended? You're open till 2?
We're not open till 2 yet. We traditionally have never been open till 2 as a distillery. But I can tell you one thing, with people opening till 2, you do have a lot of, even our coworkers are excited that they can get off work and just go grab a beer and a burger at 11:30. So
that is so true, right?
Yep, 100%.
So with that, Garrett, too, if I can ask you, the drinks to go, do you think that's going to be part of your marketing plan from here on out? Can you sell them online?
You can't sell drinks to go online. I don't believe that. Or I'm not 100% sure. But definitely, I do not believe that you can get drinks to go online. And there's a lot of, law still as far as that goes. But again, with the solidarity for the drinks to go, I always encourage, hopefully one day you will be able to get them online. For instance, a friend from Boston saying, hey, can I order those? Hopefully in the future that will be possible. And the regulations of allowing drinks to go in general, just to the public, seeing how that goes, I really think that a lot of legislators are going to start thinking about kind of getting a little bit lighter rules on as far as like liquor distribution goes.
And I'm thinking too, of course it's baby steps. I'm jumping down the road.
Yep.
But when I'm buying gifts for people, I always go to the distillery and I get a bottle of the booze. And I take it to them. And people love that. You know, you go to Chicago, you go, they love it. But then, you know, it's like, hey, can you get me another bottle?
Of course.
You know, technically, you know, shipping across state lines can be a little bit of an issue. But, you know, it's just great marketing, too. And once people experience your product, they want more.
Mm-hmm. And what's good about the to-go cocktails, and not only is it fun, A, B, a lot of, in my opinion, the, you know, and Detroit City Distillery's philosophy is you've got all these individuals that, like, everyone's on the fence. Everyone have different views of what the social distancing should be. So, number one, you're coming down with a couple of friends. You want a to-go cocktail. You want to take them home to your barbecue. Boom. You want to go ahead and just like sit and relax by yourself. It gave individuals an opportunity to where if you did not feel like going into a bar and getting a craft cocktail from a bartender, you know, if you weren't comfortable with that, what we did is we made them, and that was the purpose of a to-go cocktail. So all you literally have to do, I'll demonstrate real quick. Go ahead. Put your favorite glass, and just like a bartender, go ahead and shake it. And this allowed individuals to get that real classic craft cocktail experience from the comfort of their backyard, from the comfort of their home. And that was the original kind of concept behind a to-go cocktail. You didn't feel comfortable going in a bar. You didn't really know how to make a brown derby or a perfect Manhattan, bee's knees, etc. We allowed that, and a lot of other establishments allowed the concept of the to-go cocktail to make people feel comfortable to where they could get that craft cocktail, didn't have to wait a year and a half, 2 years to go back to the bar to get their bartender's favorite drink that they did not know really how to make at home or didn't have access to those type of ingredients or, you know, glasses, even that kind of thing. So.
Right, but even like, I don't care how many YouTube videos I watch, I still cannot make a good martini. I try. Hey, what about events? Because you have an amazing space there. I know that some people kind of go into the tasting room there on Rio Pal, but they may not understand that you actually do tours of the distillery itself. And then I believe where you are is kind of that warehouse area, which in my opinion is a perfect place for a wedding reception. Are events coming back for you and your team?
They are. And our events team, Alyssa, Caitlin, and AJ have been working around the clock. There was even during the pandemic, it was interesting. What they were doing is you'd say like, wait a second, we're not having events. So what are we going to do? They spent a very, very long time. It was a full-time job rescheduling weddings that were not allowed to happen. So we had weddings booked all the way up until the end of this year, 2020. Now they're working on what they had to do is go ahead and switch all those weddings, you know, to 2021, 2022. So they were working their butts off the entire time. Weddings are coming back. They, again, with the restrictions being lifted now, we've had weddings. They're starting to come back. We have, again, weddings are booked all the way up until, I believe we even have requests all the way up until 2023.
Wow.
So we're standing in, we used to work at Crane Communications, so we're right down the street in the old Stroh's Ice Cream Factory. Mm-hmm. 25,000 square foot venue. Usually fits about 240, but I don't want AJ, Caitlin, and Alyssa to tell me I'm wrong, but I believe about 240 people for the wedding. But beautiful space, nice industrial meets elegance, as I always call it.
I love that. Garrett, just another minute or two here with you on the MegaCast, and we always appreciate all of you taking your time, but I'm looking at your Summer Rum. I will say I love the creativity of your team. I know that you do the project with bees in the D. We love them, but people need to understand these sell out quickly. You know, you do the, just different types of drinks that you come up with local businesses. And so with that too, the Summer Rum, is it hard to get? Can people still get it?
People can still get it. Number one, you want to go to your local store. Like, we're all over Southeast Michigan. If you are tuning in from Grand Rapids, Traverse City, are some stores up there that are carrying it. But for the Southeast Michigan crowd, your local stores should have it. But again, I always encourage individuals, come on down to Eastern Market, support local, come get the experience of Eastern Market, come get the experience of actually coming to the distillery, getting your own bottle from the distillery. But usually we say that it goes from Memorial Day to Labor Day, but you never know. All right. So I always tell individuals, stock up. If your store doesn't have it, tell them they should order it. But yeah, this definitely is limited, along with B's and the D bourbon. Stay tuned. That is coming come the fall, winter type area. So.
And when it's announced, buy it that day. Don't wait.
Yes, that's the most notorious example of that is our Punchki vodka. You've ever seen that?
I forgot about that. Yeah, there's usually a line for that one.
Exactly. Yeah. I to this day did not get a bottle this year, and I work for the company. So.
Well, Garrett, we always appreciate your time. I'm telling it's a great thing that you guys have going there. I love the street area. It really adds, in my opinion, to the flavor of Eastern Market and making it more than just a place to go down and get your fruits and vegetables. You make a day out of it. Rent a bike, ride the DeQuinder Cut, come back, have something to eat, and then go over and have a great cocktail as well. So,
100%.
Garrett, we always appreciate your time, and we wish you all continued success as well.
Thank you. Say hi to your team. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Tyler.